The OldPreMeds podcast, session number 216. You're a non-traditional student entering the medical field on your terms. You may have had some hiccups along the way, but now you're ready to change course and go back and serve others as a physician. This podcast is here to help answer your questions and help educate you on your non-traditional journey to becoming a physician. Welcome to the OldPreMeds podcast. My name is Dr. Ryan Gray, and I'm excited to bring you another great question from our forums over at premedforums.com. If you haven't been over there in a while, or if you've never been over there, we are on a brand new forum platform that is much prettier, much cleaner, much more useful. So go check it out again, premedforums.com. Our question today is from a military spouse, a non-traditional student, obviously here on the OldPreMeds podcast, and a someone who has a lot of questions. She starts off saying, I'm 27, white female military spouse, mother of one, due with a second one not too long after this episode comes out, actually. And she has a few questions. I have my number one goal school based on location. Anywhere else will make it more difficult, but I'll be applying to 3 other schools in my state. If one of the biggest reasons I want to go into medicine is my kids, should I reveal this to my goal school? I've heard if they don't accept you because of it, why would you want to be there anyway? And I understand that, but I really want to go into this specific school. I'm just afraid something will be missing from my story if I don't reveal that, but I don't want them to think I won't be able to handle the load. Number 2, I'm really nervous about my GPA. It's not up to med school standards. The median for my goal school is 3.6 to 3.7, so I'm below that. Well, guess what? So is 50% of the other students. I'll keep reading. I know a strong MCAT won't necessarily make up for it. I detailed my background below. Any suggestions on how to be a stronger applicant aside from filling in the obvious gaps where I mentioned 0 hours below and getting a strong MCAT. And number 3, I took 2 courses toward my MBA 4.0 a year ago because my company paid for it. I decided, no, I don't want to continue down my current path, so I'm not going to continue this program. I'm going to work towards medicine. Does this look as bad as I think it does? Like, I have no idea what I want to do. I'll answer that one right away. No, that's not a problem. Don't worry about it. All right. Moving forward. So background, a 3.39 cumulative GPA, around a 3.0 science GPA from a bachelor's in forensic science in 2014, 3.81 cumulative GPA, 3.5 science GPA, just excluding grades, A's for, or just including, just excluding, I don't know. A's for research from master's in chemistry in 2016, Masters of Philosophy because I left after becoming a PhD candidate when I finally knew I didn't want to go into research or industry, and I didn't write a thesis. Not smart, I know. No, it's fine. Stop beating yourself up. Upward trend C's in my entry-level bio and chem courses up to A- in undergrad physical chemistry, A in graduate physical chemistry, B+ in graduate bioorganic chemistry, A's in spectroscopy courses, etc. So that's great. Good job. Worked full-time through undergrad. Not sure if that makes a difference. It, of course, does. Did computational physical chemistry research for 2 semesters, 2 local poster presentations, competed on a national mock trial team for junior and senior year. Teaching assistant for physical chemistry lab, gen chem lab, forensic lab while in grad school. I like saying lab like that. I don't know why. I've been working in pharmaceutical sales for 3 years since graduating. Med school wasn't on my radar during school. It wasn't until I began working in pharma sales and meeting lots of physicians that I realized, wow, I want to be a physician. I hear from physicians almost daily about the good, bad, and ugly, and I want part of every bit of it. Of course, there's much more to my why than this, but this is my aha moment. As of now, shadowing 0 hours, working on this, can't shadow doctors I know through my job, so looking outside a large geographical area. Very interesting that I'm assuming that's the job. Yeah, there's some issues there. Clinical 0 hours, took EMT exam yesterday, so pending results. I'll get my hours through this. Volunteer 10 hours in training for multiple other opportunities, so I'll have at the very least 400 hours by the time I apply in June 2021. 3 different nonprofits for over a year each. And research, a few thousand hours. MCAT test date January 2021, applying June 21 for 2022 admissions. All right, so this student has a lot going for her and obviously some huge glaring issues in my mind. With that being her reason why she's doing this. Right? She has zero clinical experience and zero shadowing hours. When someone comes to me and says, I want to be a doctor, I've never shadowed, I've never gotten any clinical experience, I immediately say, like, how do you know? It's impossible for you to know that this is something. You may think you want to be a doctor, but you don't know that you want to be a doctor until you get that experience and you can go, okay, I've seen it, I've done it, I've seen, as she said, the good, bad, and ugly, but she's being told this by the physicians through their own lens and their own experiences. That is why clinical experience and shadowing, I will continue to scream it from the rooftops. And I don't know how you friends up north in Canada deal with this, but to become a physician, you really need to understand what it's like to be a physician. You need to shadow, you need to get clinical experience. Does that mean that every student accepted to medical school has shadowing and clinical experience? No. I feel sorry for those people, though, because I would love to follow up with those people in 10 or 15 years to see if they actually enjoy their job. I'm sure a percentage of them will, but I would love to compare them to a control group of those who did get whatever clinical experience and shadowing, wherever we draw that line. It would actually be a really, really good research experience, research topic to determine, are these people more prone to burnout? My hypothesis is that yes. If you are not getting clinical experience in shadowing, clinical experience or shadowing, not and shadowing, clinical experience or shadowing. No, and shadowing. Yes, you need both of them. I think you need both of them. If you are not getting both of them and you get into medical school and you come out and you practice and you're like, well, shoot, this isn't what I thought it was. This isn't what the doctors told me it was when I was a farm rep, right? You need to go out and experience this yourself. So right off the bat, for me, grades are not an issue. 3.81 master's in chemistry. I'm assuming the master's was finished. It looked like she was on her way to a PhD. She stopped, so she only got the master's, which is fine. I don't understand the 3.5 just excluding grades for research. So there's a question mark there of what that really looks like. But a good upward trend, obviously, in the hard sciences. It's not like a master's of public health that won't help poor undergrad grades. Working during undergrad is obviously going to be part of your story. It's going to be part of your activity list. Someone will be able to see, oh, you were busy while you were an undergrad. So yeah, that definitely plays into it. So when you look at this whole thing, you have someone who's a military spouse. That automatically gives some experience, some level of like trustworthiness, right? It's just by being a military spouse. That coupled with the fact that you're a parent, coupled with the fact that you're a non-traditional student, coupled with the fact that you have shown this growth in your grades, your research past, your experience in the farm world, all of this is awesome. You just need clinical experience and shadowing. Get out there as fast as you can and go get it. Hospice, EMT, shadow. Get in the hospitals outside of your farm world and get that experience. Now, the biggest question here that is still left for me is this question of the kids being the reason why she wants to go into medicine. Now, she didn't explain it here in the post. And so I'm left with, well, I'm still confused. Like, are you saying, oh, I have kids and I want my kids to have a great life, so I want to be a doctor and make lots of money, right? Is that the reason you want to be a doctor, because of your kids? Or does your kid have some sort of medical issue and you see a physician a lot because of that? So that's my question with the kid. Now, I always come back to, you have to tell your story. And if your story has gaps in it, it's not going to make sense and they won't like it. So you need to tell your story. And if whatever's going on with your child is a huge reason why you're wanting to do this, then I think it needs to be part of your story. And then you just have to figure out how to tell the story so that it's not a concern moving forward for the school to go, well, is this student going to need to take an extra year or two to finish school because of their kid and all this other stuff going on. That's just however you tell the story, however you paint that picture. So lots of questions here. Sounds like a great journey, something that I'm excited to hear the resolution of and follow the progress of for this student. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, go to premedforums.com, register for an account if you don't already have one, ask your question, follow along, join in other conversations. I hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time here on the Old Pre-Meds podcast.
This is MedEd Media.